that camera right. Welcome back to the Wilderness Podcast. How you guys doing, ladies and gentlemen? We're happy to see you. We are back. We are here with Dr. A.E. And the show tonight is the creation of the police. And we're also going to do the book share, and we're going to kind of blend it with some whip moments. So the first thing I would like to tell you is that Dr. AE would be the first to tell you, but I'm going to give you a good synopsis of how we're going to run through this show tonight. We're going to understand one thing that a lot of times when it comes to the creation of the police, it had to do between, it had nothing to do with white or black. It was rich and poor. So we're going to walk through a couple of things first. First of all, indigenous Africans, uh, Portuguese, French, Italians. These things weren't just simply about black and white at the times in the inceptions of the 13, 14, and 1500s. It had nothing to do with color of skin. That was a later uh, continued fiasco. But what it truly was, and I want you to understand what it's about. Who have, it was about the have not. It was about theft, unyielded, it was a whole bunch of yielded wealth that was it was unworthy. It was a whole lot of theft. There was a whole lot of taking because there was a whole lot of misconceptions because of what propaganda had propagated in the later times, simply because some people were gaining power and wanted power by any means necessary. We're going to also get into the, not completely, but the Catholic Church plays an extremely important part in these specific equations. Understand me? So, also, I wanted to touch bases with this book right here. It's called The Delectable Negro. I've read parts of this book before, but it's something that I want to read with you right now because you got to understand we went from iconoclast, icon class people to delectable delicacies. But before I get into the book, because I wanted to show you what the book was, I want Dr. A.E. to expound upon what we the introduction and as well as the question I'm about to pose to you right now. So the creation of the police, I would say, had nothing to do and still has nothing to do with black, white, or anything in between. It has to do with control and making sure and solidifying how controlling all people that are puppets with their strings. So you create these ideological situations that you create and they make these things real. Black versus white, black versus white, and everything in between. Uh, picturing this right here. We already know that the whole world was keyed in on America by war, deception, want, need, and also wanting to gain from. And they knew the area to take it from because it had a plentiful amount of resources, and it wasn't as big as the other option of melanated, or we would call Aboriginal people, the indigenous class of people. So globally, the indigenous class of people, from the Polynesians to the every part of Lower Asia, was colonized and pretty much degraded in the new spin of modernization from a Eurocentric perspective, when you had to bow down, join forces, and capitulate, and you had something to gain, which is also have a place to ship your unwanted or undesirables. Dr. AE, you got it from here.
Okay. I'm a historian, so I have to start at the beginning. And I agree with most of what you say, and then there's some that we'll talk about. But let's start at the beginning. You are absolutely correct when you say It was about what they considered was control and power. And it actually starts before the British. When we're talking about present day United States, it starts with the Spanish in La Florida. And the oldest, what is considered the oldest city, right? Which is St. Augustine, Florida.
Straight up.
Now, technically, Pensacola was first, but
I was about to tell you.
because though the British and the French began to encroach on the East Coast,
Yes, sir.
they left Pensacola mainly as a trading post.
Trading post.
And they started building St. Augustine. And St. Augustine became a government center. Before it even became a city, they started it as a government center. And as the government center, the first thing that they built was a prison. But it was for those in the Caribbean who were cutting up and not obeying the laws there, unruly, all of that good stuff. They would send them up to present day United States, and they would put them in the Castile or the prison there in St. Augustine.
Yep.
And so when we look at time and time fast forward, and we get into present day United States, you have police officers, particularly in the North, and it actually comes from a concept out of Ireland. That's why you see with Boston and different places, the Irish have such this connection with the police. But that actually came again from what you said earlier, from this control, where they were trying to enact control in the British. Now, that's something most people don't know, that the first group of people that the British tried to enslave were actually the Irish.
The Irish. That's a
It
fact.
wasn't Africans.
No, it was the
As a
Irish,
matter
the
of fact,
undesirable.
even when you look at the Portuguese, right? The first main group that is enslaved, and they're taken off of the Madeira Islands, between the Canary Islands and the Madeira Islands, and they placed on the island from Canary to Madeira, and they placed there to grow sugar. These were not Africans either. They were actually remnants of the Roman Empire.
That's right. Which would not.
So,
Which would not
now,
what? Which would not what? They
weren't
weren't all.
Africans. They weren't black people at all. These were swarthy individuals now, because the Italians are a form of swarthy.
But they would consider what they would consider a mulatto, and they would consider themselves white, but they fall up under a Huguenot mulatto class. That's what they really fall up under. Seriously.
And so what we understand is, when we're talking about the United States, as the United States comes into fruition, your criminals are placed in these prisons, right?
Yeah.
And these prisons, though, are up north. There aren't, see, you got to understand this now. There are not any prisons in the South until the Reconstruction and after enslavement ends. Prisons, this is the part where I tell you that I say that we kind of disagree on, when you said it wasn't about race. For the South, though, it was, because prisons were not created.
But see, we was talking about.
Hold on.
All right. Okay, because we got to discuss.
Let me finish with the historical note, and then let's talk.
You're right.
Prisons were not created in the Southeast until after enslavement ends. Now, we know for a fact, historically also, that your patrollers, what they call patty rollers, right? These are your slave patrollers. Your slave patrollers are directly associated with sheriffs. This is why the same star that patrollers had during the enslavement is the same star that they use with sheriffs.
Who were the best
Because,
sheriffs
huh?
in the times of the best patrollers who they learned? Like I say, the reason why I wanted to bring this point up and I wanted to add to this, and I'm not at all diminishing what you're saying. But what I'm trying to say is who were and had the best skill sets to even. It was Bass Reeves, John Horse. It was all of these men, black men, that they had to teach. And these were times in Reconstruction where the whole ideology was extremely different. And then but the Irish came in and they revamped a lot of what is American law even today. The best lawman was Bass Reeves in the South.
Right, but
Seriously.
that was later on out west. When we're talking about 1865, when the
This is oh go ahead. You got it.
right,
Go
we're
ahead.
talking about 1865
Go
when
ahead. Go
Reconstruction
ahead.
begins, right?
Mm-hmm.
Reconstruction begins in
It
the
begins.
South, right?
Yes, it did. Uh-huh.
Now, we know that those slave patrollers then became sheriffs.
That's right.
And they were not in line. They were not in line with radical Reconstruction, and they were not in line with the dividing of the South so that they could protect blacks. They were protecting local law, which
Law
at
and wealth.
times, which at times was not directly in line. This is
Correct.
why they had to come up with two things. This is where the actual, we hear all the time about the theoretical thing of where the Ku Klux Klan came with these ideas to protect women and all of that, and Christianity and all of that, how they mixed Christianity. But the practical was the actual slave codes now became what they call black codes.
That's
But
right.
see, black codes were illegal.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was the Klan's responsibility to enforce the black codes because the quote unquote law couldn't, right?
That's right.
The police and the sheriff technically could not. So that was the first thing they created. The second thing they created was the convict lease system.
Yes, indeed.
When they created the convict lease system and started what they call these pig laws,
Shout out to Michelle Alexander. Yes, sir.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
When they started that, right? This is when you start seeing, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is when you start seeing a growth in the police, and you now see a relationship between the Klan and the police.
That's
because the convict lease system muddied the waters for them.
Mm-hmm.
They used that loophole in the 13th Amendment,
To
right?
keep enslaving, to keep
To keep enslaving
petitioning
and
enslaving, and to
to
entrap
entrap black
and
people into
boys, men, the same
and
tax
women
like these things, and women,
and women.
and
They
women.
wanted to entrap them into this convict lease system, which would also directly tie them to sharecropping. You see,
And the
and what
same
we
thing that
know and
goes
what
with
we
what.
won't tell people is
But
that
let's make the
sharecropping,
equivocal. Let's keep it equivocal to today. Sharecropping turns into working in merchandising, fast food restaurants, all the low end type because you got a record now, right? So when you say they
well,
attack these
right, I
people,
was going to
it's the
say
same.
the dynamics change, but it's still that same concept, right?
Yes, yes,
That using the law to disenfranchise people and keep them from voting
yes,
and keep them in a position where you can work them because we know how the capitalistic system works, right?
yes,
Capitalistic system works because one group of people, that's why they always use the pyramid, because there's a small group of people that will always benefit off of the hard work of others.
yeah,
And that's what the
right there.
pyramid structure is for capitalism. And that's what
That's
it
it.
is. And so in order to ensure that you have that base at the bottom, you
You
do
got to be
all of these different
hard
things.
on your base.
And the criminal justice system becomes one of those mechanisms, right? It is
The
basically
most fierce. The most fierce
so
mechanism.
back to what you were saying with the police and the sheriff, right?
Yep.
The police are the ones who can enforce these laws into that mechanism, right? Because we all know a law in this country has not ever been based solely on ethics and morals. It
At
is
all.
about power and control. And so then to ensure you put these other mechanisms in place to go with this primary mechanism. And that is the brother Muhammad. He's now at Harvard, but he was over the Schomburg. I met him. He was a professor at
Arthur
IU
Schomburg,
when I
shout
was
out.
leaving. Basically, he's Elijah Muhammad's grandson. He wrote a book on the criminalization of the black man and how they
Neary
criminalized.
Muhammad?
Huh?
Are you talking about Neary?
No. I can't think of his first name right now.
Okay.
But like I said, he's at Harvard now. But he was over to Schomburg for years. Anyway, he discusses how with the newspapers and then, of course, television and what we still see today, right?
Oh, yeah.
This criminalization of blacks allow you to keep feeding that mechanism, right? Because as long as you get that criminal record, now you can still be disenfranchised to a certain degree. Not as much as you used to. Things have definitely changed, but you still have to go through a process in which you get your rights back. And I want to talk just a quick second on that, right? Because that's the practical part we keep talking about, because it's always theoretical, practical. Theoretical says you get your rights back, but I'm going to use the state of Florida and where it's been messed with the most. That's starting with Jeb Bush all the way up to DeSantis, Rick Scott, every last one of them here in Florida. The process, right, says that you have to file, you have to this, you have to that, right? Well, I actually knew people, right? I knew people who worked for the Department of Corrections, and they worked with these restorative rights, right? And they worked with the expungement, all of that, right? Okay. At one time, there were at least 40 people who worked on these applications, right? Rick Scott cut it all the way back. Once the law said that they had to give them back their rights, Rick Scott cut them down from 40 all the way to 10. 10 people had to handle the entire state. It took years for people to get their rights back. You see what I'm saying? Now, all of this is going back to the mechanism that you were saying, Noah, and that you brought up about control. And that is the real thing, right? That is the underlying theoretical thing, is that it is about control. And so they have designated people of color, particularly black people and Hispanic people, as being that bottom that's going to be the bottom base for this hierarchical society that they create through capitalism, right? And so those mechanisms that they use through housing, voting, everything else,
Nelly Fuller Jr.
are just a part of it.
Mr.
And
Nelly
the
Fuller
police,
Jr.
the police have always been part of that structure and mechanism. And I can take you one even further. The courts, of course, they oblige too. Because, and I'm not talking about criminal, let's talk about civil court, right? In this country, right?
Tickets.
In this country, civil court, right?
Uh,
And these trials go through a judge, right? It's hard to get a jury for a civil
the silver
case,
suit.
right? In a civil suit. Very hard. Some states you can't, right?
Right.
Okay. Now here's the statistic nationwide.
Okay.
The judge sides with a business entity and a Fortune 500 company 85 to 90% of the time.
That's right.
So it's still about the power and control. And it goes all the way from the police who enforce it, all the way to the judge that does the last enforcement.
That brings us to the next point. Right here. You remember some years ago, maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago, they used to do these, CNN used to do these segments about two Americas. So
Mm-hmm.
the thing is, see, this was what people don't understand about what you call us indigenous Americans, American Indians, Foundation of Black Americans, whatever you want to call us. What we have and what you cannot do when you come here is educate us about who we are. If you're a certain age, if you come from a particular type of family, the one thing we have done and the one thing that we are the best at is that's what you call sociology and education in the country that we only know. So like people like me, yeah, I'm an exception. I've been all over the world. That doesn't make me change my ethnicity as far as being an American Indian. uh, I have people that have told me outside of this continent before I knew. Well, I knew because my grandmama always told me, but the verification and the solidification came from not here, not from America, not from, the majority of white towns that I grew up in, but I grew up around my ancestral and my family, my close or immediate relatives. So understanding these things, and when I left I stepped outside, went to the first countries in the world, and I was 18 years old, and I was told you're a Mary Indian and all of these things, and it was a group of us. They knew who we were. We had an idea because you didn't think that your grandmama that lived in that little old cottage in Pensacola, Florida, knew the hell she was talking about. Because you're like, you ain't never left Pensacola in your mind, but you think about it. My grandmama done been to New York and everywhere else and been a lot of places. You just have to ask questions. So that's when she gave me a historical lesson on certain things. So that kept me out of trouble. It kept me in a space of understanding where she let me know when they was called slave catchers. And then I knew the stories of my granddaddies, Will Laster and Will Crosby. Will Laster and Will Crosby. They are the pinnacle of the essence of who I am today because I'm reminded about my mom and my daddy. So that's some ancestry for your ass. Both American Indians. You see, we had to assume a lot of different identities to even survive. We had to give up our feathers. We had to give up everything. We had to give up everything to survive. We had to embrace the the Christian church,
I'm going to say
Pentecostal.
culture,
We
religion,
had to
all
embrace
of
it. We had to embrace
spirituality.
it and we had to intertwine it and combine it just to survive, to keep us away from that creation that they call the police. They knew they was this new creation because they knew how to prepare us to live and to stay alive simply because you have to see that's also another reason why we know the difference between foreign blacks and indigenous black people. That's how we know the difference because the way you behave, the way you talk to them, the way you want to capitulate, the way you want to, I'm sorry, all that old. We were like, what the fuck are you? What are you doing? What is wrong? We can't even fathom why they act that way, but we see it, and they say that's why they give you trouble. Man, they don't. You committed a crime, and you're gonna apologize. It's confusing for us, so that lets us know. Damn. Okay, so that's why they like that. They're not from here, so they get very disoriented, talkative, telling and shedding every damn thing and acting real crazy simply because we understand they are foreign. So they started in the news. Every time a black person committed a crime, they just say they see it was a loop term. It was a sum up term. They didn't say they were Jamaican. They didn't say they was Barbadian. They didn't say they was from Haiti. They didn't say none of that shit. They didn't say they was Haitian. You know what they said? They black. So it's a lesson that we told y'all initially when we try to make friends and you think we just damn dumb, stupid, and little slow or something. Like, hey man, you understand? Like, hey, when you get in trouble, they're gonna see you just like they see me. Oh man, fuck you. Okay, all right. Oh well, oh, that's fine, bro. Whatever. But when you find out, and Doctor A, please expound on what has happened also in the past 10 years, 10 strong years of why we had to re-identify ourselves specifically because of all of these losses that we've taken in politics. You got people from, you know, divesting into the Democratic Party, and that's no longer a trusted entity. The Republican Party, at least they know what they're about. So why have Black Americans understood the power that we've had by centralizing ourselves, loving ourselves, and being peaceful and healing ourselves and all of this times of turmoil and trouble? We have been in a time of healing and in peace, and we are embracing and preparation. Expound upon that, please, good sir.
Well, the main problem exists in that when you strip people of their identity, right? When you tell them they can't wear their feathers, when they can't use their language, when they can't, when you punish them for using their cultural and spiritual beliefs, you even punish them for using their native tongues, right? You then make them and mold them how you want them to be, right? And so when you start putting names and labels on them as time goes on, right? They begin as they begin to reassert their independence, they began to reject some of those names, right? And so let's take the word black, right? Now there was a time when black, you call somebody black, they were ready. No, they were ready to fight.
Oh hell yeah!
In the early 1900s, you call them black,
Shit
they were ready
yeah!
to fight. They were colored, they were Negro, right? Now, the thing about that is because prior to that, black was associated with the N word, right? It was the
Oh
black
yeah!
N word, and then they just dropped black from it and started calling us all N word from uh as a generality, right?
Yeah,
Okay. And so black was fighting words.
pretty much.
Then as we moved forward, we started uh thinking about being called Negro and
I like
colored,
that shit.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so colored and Negro, right? First colored became a word where they understood as a colonizer word, right?
Pretty
And
much.
so we rejected colored, right?
Yeah.
Then the word Negro, the problem with the word Negro was, again, it was given to us. Secondly, the Negro in what was emerging as television news and broadcast that was going out a lot further, right? The Negro had,
Easy to say the N word. Two simultaneous. Go
well,
ahead. I'm sorry.
that and both of them, right, had this docile connotation.
because it was given.
Right? And so when the civil rights movement ends, right? We move into the black power because now we choose black because black at that point when we hit the late 60s when the civil rights movement ends in 68 and we move into the 70s, black is now beautiful, right? We go through a different type of Harlem Renaissance. Now,
That's right. 1930s,
right, the 30s and the 40s
30s and 40s.
was the Harlem Renaissance, and now we
Yeah.
go into a
Willis
different
Nathaniel Huggins, Dr. Clark, and
we go into a
the
different
Klan.
one, right?
Yeah.
We go to a
Yeah.
one that is a little more militant because it's run and led by young people,
That's
right?
right. That's right.
And young people are far less likely
Docile.
to turn the other cheek. I'm gonna tell you say docile, I'm gonna say turn the other cheek, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so my point where we are today is I don't care if we say black, if we say melanated, but we have to come together for the sake of unity because unity is our greatest
Asset.
internal problem and issue. So, for the sake of unity, what are we going to say? Are we going to say black? Are we going to say melanated?
I like melanated. I
If we
like
say
melanated a lot.
melanated, we need to go with melanated and we need to stick with melanated.
But can I add?
But
Please, sir.
we have to make that decision. Are we going to say black or melanated? Because these both are terms that are on our terms that we created, that we have created for ourselves. So
Well, I
we got
say
to go with one of
melanated
them.
because it's scientific. Melanated because it's specific and it's scientific. It doesn't. Black is a crayon. We don't have to call ourselves black and make it worth a damn because it's not. We are beautiful people. We're copper color complected anyway, so I have no problem with black. I just we're a lot of shades of melanin is more specific when it comes to a scientific perspective. You a doctor, I understand you can respect that. I love melanated because it describes us not as a monolith. I don't like being a monolith. I don't even like being associated with people like Jesse Lee Peterson. Like Jesse Lee Peterson, I don't want to be associated with people like Brian Donaldson. You see what I'm saying? I don't like being associated with people like Tim Scott. I
Right.
don't like being associated with people that have no knowledge of themselves. So simply because I think we have to make it a little bit more uh, intellectual, a little bit more studied, a little bit more intricate, like we are, simply because we are not a simple people. We are very complex people that are not a monolith. We have the one specific black person. It has the world of DNA in them that that is so diverse, so beautiful, and so wonderful. And that's just one black being. Why do you think they love? Well, a lot of lighter melanated people or white people or people that consider themselves don't want melanin at all, why do you think they have that gene of jealousy, deceit, and all of those ill wills? Because they have yet to accept who they are and who they actually come from, acting as if they come from somewhere else, acting as if you're not the child of the Aboriginal. You are the child of the Aboriginal. That's just that simple. Ain't nobody drop no goddamn crowd from down space and say these white people deal with them. No, you're a recessive gene that came from the nut sacks of black people. That's how it works out. That's genetics. That's how it goes. You are part of the human genome, but you have created all of these different psychological fuck tales to for you to appease yourself. That wasn't for
Mm.
nobody but for you. So the only people that believe your stories are you. That's fine. But when you decide to tell yourself the truth, you can't keep appeasing your sickness. You can't keep appeasing the things that you enjoy by expelling, dispelling, downtrodden, degrading people They gave you everything that you have earned, have gotten, and never even thought about. Where do you think you get Marvel comics from? Where do you think you get DC comics? I love the stories that you tell, but I know that they're all mine being told back to me. I hope you understand that too. Do you know H.G. Wells? Y'all know that's one of y'all, right? He said, "Oh my God, these Negroes." Oh, he called us Negroes at the time. That's what he associated with at the time. But he couldn't say black people. But he, them Negro people, the black people, the black race, them people that's dark, swarthy, tawny, huh?
Mm-hmm.
The inventors of it all, everything. You have made all kind of shit that I love. Thundercats. When I was a kid, I fucking loved Thundercats because I already knew you was telling my story. It was in me. You was breaking up my DNA. Then you start taking shit like that off TV. Oh Lord, we don't walk up all these goddamn. We didn't. We're telling them. We're not talking above their heads. We're telling them their stories back to them. Look at Graham Hancock. He said, "Oh." He said, I know why scientists started doing the shit that they're doing, trying to equate everything back to Greece. They didn't want to do it no more. They didn't want to study them. They didn't want to dig no deeper into the planet because they found out the deeper you dig, the darker it gets. That damn white folks, let's be honest, y'all about 6,000 years old at the most. And I'm talking about the ones with the ones with the white pale plected people with the older melanated complexions are the redheads, and y'all got y'all fixes. It's just the blue hairs, and some as you blonde hair folks. See, the thing is, when it's the practice of erasure when it comes to white
Mm-hmm.
people, it's the practice of erasure. It's literally erasing your soul, yourself, and you're bleaching yourself out, casting yourself from humanity by your behavior. That's why you develop these. That's why you're so susceptible to xenophobia. That's why you're so susceptible to hate. That's why you're so susceptible to those sicknesses. And that's why you're so susceptible to taking baths and all these awful elements that exist so completely outside of humanity just to make people uncomfortable. That's called a fucking miscreant. You understand what I'm saying? That's a goddamn miscreant. You want to cause problems instead of you. Look who runs the government. Miscreants.
Mm.
Hey, E, you got something to add? I went on a tangent because that's why we got the creation of the police. It should be it should be peace officers, peace corps, peace officers, knowing how to establish and be trained. That's why psychologists should be on the streets without guns. That's what we should have, door knockers, not people that's going to perpetuate the system, that's going to make these lives better by saying that we need a sociologist that you're not going to be punished for. See, why does everything that's tied with white supremacy and the police and everything with white authority, it comes with severe punishment, harsh treatment, degradation, and not rebuilding, but you know how to do this shit for yourself. That's the crazy part about it. You know how to do it. You just don't want to do it for other people. Fuck them. Let me practice everything the opposite. And let them solve their own goddamn problems. I'm a Christian, I'm rich, and I'm white. You be careful, because I'll fuck you up. You know how they do. That's how they get out.
Yeah, because they have equivalated their entire survival on that.
Shit.
They've equivalated their entire survival. That is the whole thing, you know.
Let me weaponize. Police! Come get this black motherfucker. He's sitting here like this. Look at this crazy motherfucker. He just sitting up here putting on, doing all of this. Police show up, blonde hair, blue eyed guy. What are you doing? You're a fucking maniac. I'm gonna take your ass to jail. How about that? Surprise her goddamn life. Ain't that some shit? Woo!
Yep. And see, that's that is the thing that they've always done, right? They have been able to weaponize their tears, right? Anything, and they have been for so long used to having the police at their disposal simply because they don't like something. They are offended at something,
Damn.
and let's call it like it is. for hundreds of years now, well over 100 years. You had the police before you had the sheriffs.
Yeah.
They obliged, right? They obliged. I mean, not only just the police, the court obliged, right?
Who
That is
else?
one of the main reasons.
Who else?
That's one of the main reasons
Politicians oblige.
to
They write laws.
the Supreme Court, even
They
after
oblige.
slavery, even after slavery ended, the Supreme Court still had a rule that black people couldn't take white people to court.
Dred Scott.
So, you know, even after Dred Scott was the last straw for free blacks.
That was the last straw. Yes. Yes, sir.
And so
Attacking.
then after slavery ends, same thing. This is what the Freedmen's Bureau, one of their main purposes, was to get white people in court because black people still couldn't take them to court. So they had to create a backdoor way so that black people can get white people to court and get their just.
That brings up the last. Let's bring up this last and final point right here.
Okay.
The one thing that and I know you're gonna have to agree with me on this, but it's always been the black American versus the damn world. But the best ally we have always had was some of those pivotal European Americans. I swear to God. Straight up. Some of them.
The only reason I agree with that, though, is because they were able to get things done that we couldn't and still can in certain spaces.
So this ain't this.
You're right. I agree to you.
I can never say it was something that they did specifically, but I will say having a heart in humane is worth a salute. But I will tell you, who wrote the papers? Who did the idealism? Who made you realize? And for you to put your life on the line, when that started happening, they closed their blinds. See what I'm saying? A lot of John Browns of the world, the John Brown, he died, but he put it on the line. And there's a problem with a lot of fragile Caucasians. They know the truth. These fragile European Americans, they know the truth. I promise you, that's why they make it so good for them people. I promise you. If you start getting enough whites even protesting, I would challenge to say I don't know if they doing the work now. I hear a lot of white folks doing their work, and I can do nothing but applaud you because there's a whole lot of people that share your content, but they just won't say it. I'm saying it because, well, goddamn, it's like you see, I'm not gonna sit up here and backhand you for telling the damn truth, and you know the bullshit you're going through too. The thing is, it's just knowing that understand how it's time for change. Knowing that understands how you got a whole bunch of, these Candace Owenses and these whole bunch of these other peoples out here that just, and I say other peoples that
they just don't want to be black.
They don't want to be black. They don't want to be nothing associated with black. And the Officer Tatum's of the world. It's sad and pathetic and pitiful how you try to degrade your mother and your father and your ancestors. You are some despicable motherfuckers. They don't know nothing about yourselves. It's awful.
And some of them, we even still give them far too much credit.
Entirely.
I give one historically that we give too much credit to. The sister, remember the Lovings in Virginia, the ones that defied the interracial law?
Oh my God! Yes.
Do you know that she really didn't want to identify as black? She kept saying she's really Native American. She didn't really even want to identify as black.
She ain't want to do it. I mean, two things can be true at one time, but who's the first black American Indian? Huh? Wait a minute.
Well, we give her a lot of credit, and we made a
I
movie
don't
and
I don't
everything
like that
else.
whole situation. That
And
was just
I saw that interview. I saw that interview that she did
she
where
despised.
she
She
said
despised
that she
even
wasn't
being
really black, that she was
she
Native American, and
despised.
she was rah rah rah. And yeah, she
No.
no, she didn't want to
No.
be black either.
At all.
I
And
saw
that's what
that.
he loved about her. That's what he loved about her. Love.
Uh,
That's why they relate. That's why that was so strong. You understand? Because she had to rid herself of who she really was. And she was proud to do it. Long as she can start that shit and cause that strife, because that's what they called it, that love and shit. See, that's you see so many relationships on this planet that end up in these young um couples dating. I'm not telling y'all who to date. I think it's great that you date who you want to date. I don't think nothing wrong with what you do, but I mean, educate yourself about things and these sometimes you might have to be bold for your family because they will destroy your children. Your children will end up thinking that they're a mistake because they're biracial and they don't belong to nobody. And but usually, most of the time, them biracial kids, they always go to them black families and they start knowing real quick how they felt about when them white families see them and they give them the looks and the biracial little child looking at them like, well, hell, y'all the ones that stink. It ain't me. Oh, so I'm saying, man, that married these white ladies and the white ladies that married them, the black ladies that married them, and the white men. Y'all got to be please educate your children on what they really gonna be when the world see them. And when you don't do that, your parenting skills are suspect because you know it's coming. Uh, your little old gutter sex turn into a love affair, and that's not all situations. I'm just saying, I think you're very irresponsible with having all of this interracial sex and having all these damn children. And when the truth come out about these children, especially, sad part about it is a lot of um, American Indians and FBAs don't really deal with a lot of the European American ladies because we already know historically what that cost us, i.e., Emmett Till. But if you a lot of the Africans and the immigrants, they come over here and they love Asian, white. That's why they come to America because they hold conquests. I want a white wife. I want an Asian wife. I want something that's not like me. And then on the flip side of that equation, there's a lot of white women that say that same thing now. I don't want nothing like me. It's like they're scorned, and I understand a whole lot of different sides of these. Hey, you got something to add to that? How they be working out like that now?
well, part of it is human nature, right?
Sure.
Part of it is
Jug
human
of
nature.
evil.
I know. Well, I mean, just attracted to the opposite, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
I know some I know some very light skinned women.
Me too.
Hey, if that man not blue black, she might as
She
well
don't
not
want him.
talk to her.
He better not talk to her. He better not say
She want
shit
the
to her, really.
darkest. She want the darkest, crispiest. You know what I'm saying? And I've seen some dark skinned brothers that they got to have the light bright. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
it's human nature, but
yeah,
once you get past that though, because you
yeah,
got to talk to this person, you got to learn this person. You end up, if you go too far, you end up living with them, right?
yeah.
And
Yeah,
so
you do.
you're going to see the fundamental differences, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my issue is, or my thought on it is, the fundamental differences between black culture and white culture are so polar opposite
Whew, boy.
that most relationships, not all, but at least In my opinion, 90 to 95% of those relationships, one has to choose the other's culture.
That's
Either
it.
that white person start immersing themselves in black culture, or that black person pulls a Candace Owens, right?
Pretty,
And so,
pretty much.
right, and because the cultures are so polar opposite, it's very few relationships where there is a
Oh,
black man and there is a white woman, or a
yeah.
white woman and a black man,
Hmm.
and they are equally yoked with their culture intact
Right.
throughout this marriage. No, at some point,
Somebody got
95
you
to
for real.
95% of them, one is going to immerse fully into and acculturate into the other culture.
That's
And what's
true.
funny is you look at so many of these relationships I see on social media,
Oh shit.
and
Yeah.
you see so many of the, and it's going both ways, right?
Uh huh.
You see
Oh
these
yeah.
white, you see these white women um going with these different hairdos now. They are talking, they they are using black vernacular all day long,
All day long,
black
man.
mannerisms
Oh
now.
shit.
They taking mannerisms of black women, everything,
Woo.
right? And now here's the
Yeah.
other thing with white men. I'm looking at this as social media too.
Same
Look,
thing.
for me, it's the haircuts.
Yeah.
Look at the
The
haircuts these
hell.
white boys, these white men start getting when they date a black woman. They end up with the closest thing to a fade that they can get.
Boy, they be trying to goddamn.
They,
Oh man. The
hey,
dress change. Oh,
the
the
dress change, because the
vernacular.
one usually, buy her man outfit, buy her man clothes, or the dress change.
Yeah.
But for me, it's the haircuts.
It's always the haircut, pimp.
It's the
Yes,
haircuts.
sir.
It's
It's
like,
always the damn haircut. They got
oh,
goddamn.
they want to fade.
They want
Oh,
to
white boy got a
fade.
nice
They
fade.
want. They want to fade.
White dude got a nice fade.
Got a nice fade, but he got that fade. You be like,
He up in the barber
okay,
shop for real.
he in that barber shop. I'm talking about calculating and collecting data. Like,
You know what I'm saying? They putting him in
shit.
there. They
They
hooking
put
him
him in the
up.
game.
He done found the right barber and everything. They got him in there.
And to
You see
pay
what I'm
anything
saying?
too. Look, appreciate you, pimp. Appreciate. That's a tip for you too. They love it. They
And so that's my issue. Now, when you look at
shit. What happened?
other other cultures, right? They have so
Yeah.
many things that they can share. People of color
Mm-hmm.
share different things. Like I got a good that love them to death. She from Mexico, brother. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He from Indiana. Played ball, all that good stuff. Played ball overseas, all that good stuff. And ever since I've known them, when they got together, because she used to have her own house. You go in her house, boy, the living room orange, the hallway green, the kitchen is sky blue. I love it. I was like, boy, if y'all don't love color the way we love color, I don't know what to tell you. You know what I'm saying? And you see it, right? Who got the same color car? You see a car with a fresh paint job, you don't know if that's a Latino
And
car
got them
or a
things on
black
it.
person car.
Trues and Vogues.
You don't know.
Dayton's. You,
You
you see a
don't
Mexican,
know.
you be like, god damn, that's Cholo.
You
And
see,
then you
you
see
see that.
a black dude. They can be rolling in the crew or right beside the cat, just like that. That's how it used to be in the 90s and early 2000s. That's how we used to get down. These days, man, how things have changed. Yeah,
But I
man, it's
mean, they've
wild.
always they've always been a colorful people as well. You
For
know,
real though, yeah, straight up, no
look at
bullshit.
when you
I'm with
look at their history, right? Look at
you. Yeah,
the zoot suits of the 1930s that what they wore in the 30s. They wore the same zoot suits that we did in the 30s and 40s.
we was wearing
Same
them. I
color,
just said we were wearing
same
them fur. We'll even
same
man, Zoot suits
same
last
baggy
so long,
pants
got
with
their
the
nuts hanging
V,
out and shit, man. Come on
all
now.
of that. So that's what I'm saying. It's only that union
Mhm.
with with uh with white culture where you see totally opposite polar. You know what I'm saying?
That's just like the show we was talking about. Man, we got to get the hell up off here, man. We just rapping our ass off, right? Been on this bitch out.
Yeah, we ain't even get to the book. Well, do part two, brother.
We do part two. Damn, man. But hold on. God damn it, you made me. I was looking, I said, oh shit. Man, we done been on this motherfucker. I was just cutting up. Golly. Man, part two coming soon, tomorrow or Saturday. We gotta do part two. We gotta look at this show and make sure we
No, we
pick up
can't
where
do
we
it
left off.
Saturday. Can't do it Saturday. For my people in
Tomorrow?
Florida, join me in Jacksonville on Saturday for the Gullah Oktoberfest downtown Jacksonville.
Straight up. It's like that. Downtown Jacksonville. Y'all heard him say it again, AE. Let them know.
Downtown Jacksonville, Gullah Oktoberfest.
Yes, sir. Y'all
Lots of
heard that.
culture.
Yeah, I heard that. So yeah, I'm gonna get to some festivals indeed myself too, but I gotta go on vacation. When I go vacation, I'm going to Maryland. See what pops, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And check
Yeah.
out check out my
So
mama
if you
house in Augusta. You know, do some things, just see what's going down, see what's going on with my folks. And I'm gonna
okay,
have to scat down to Pensacola, check out my granny. Ooh, I got a lot of stuff to do,
travels
man. So
now.
that's why I'm trying. Lord have mercy. I got some travel to
Safe
do
travels,
myself.
brother. But
What's up?
again,
Yeah.
you in you in Florida, you in the area. Come on, because I'm also showing my short documentary on the Black Seminoles. So there'll be a film time. There are about 3 different films going that day. The short doc on the Black Seminoles is one of them. So join us.
Check out my boy AE, y'all. You know, and also we're gonna be working on this podcast. You know, I will say it is coming soon. I will say a podcast is coming very soon. We're gonna make sure we get that in order. Uh excuse me. I'm sorry, y'all. And you will see me featured on that. We're gonna be acting a fool. But I tell you, we're gonna be cutting up and shit. But anyway, yeah, man. We appreciate y'all. Love y'all for tuning in. We will have you a part two coming soon, probably tomorrow. Sunday at the latest, people. I'm gonna be doing the show tomorrow anyway. But the creation of the police with the we gotta get that book share. But just before I go, I was gonna show you the book I was gonna show you. I told you the delectable Negro. So I do owe you this right here. I do owe you this. Where's that page? Here we go. I do owe you this, my people. Right here. Let me tell you some statistic shit right here. This is a tale of hunger retold. And let me tell you something about a male daughter. A tale of hunger retold. I'm gonna tell you again. Check this out. A male daughter. We're gonna get into some shit. Check it out. Scholars have had a challenging time deciphering Douglas's public letter written in his former slave master Thomas Auld in 1848. William S. McFrinley, and Douglas biographer referred to the letter as one of the strangest pieces of literature in American slavery. What makes this letter so strange is the fact that Douglas, speaking vicariously through the voice of a body of a young white daughter, added that he adults to the relationship a very intimate, erotic relationship between himself and his former master in a female voice. Um, One gets the sense that Douglas and his former master as estranged natural enemies on one of the hands, on one hand, and on the other, an intimate sharer of a deep, binding secret. When one thinks about the letter when written by Douglas as a coded way of speaking about his own rape, his own body through female metaphor, it does not appear strange at all. Instead, it serves as an example of how Douglas' overt grammatical gestures were oftentimes informed by layman inverted references to his own sex and sexualized treatment. The occasion for writing the letter of an anniversary of Douglas' emancipation, celebrating himself in his own vineyard, the North Star newspaper. Douglas gave his own synopsis of his liberation and what it meant to him. 3 years removed from his life of bondage, addressing all in 1848, he writes, Sir, the long and intimate thought, by no means friendly, relation which unhappily subsided between you and myself leads me to hope that you were easily accounted for a great liberation which I would now take in addressing you in an open public manner. I have selected that the day on in which you, because of the anniversary of my emancipation, how, let me ask, would you look upon me where I am, some dark night, in company with band of hardened villains, to enter the precepts of your elegant dwelling and seize the person of your own lovely daughter, Amanda, and carrying her off from your family, friends, and all the loved ones of her youth. Make her my slave. Compel her to work and take her wages. More and still more horrible, leaves her unprotected and deranged, the victims of a brutal lust of friendship overseas who would pollute, blight, and blast her fair soul, rob her of all her dignity, destroy her virtue, and annihilate her in person of all the graces of the adorned, the character, the victorious womanhood. I ask, how would you regard me if such were my conduct? Part two coming soon, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, you got any last words?
No, I think we thoroughly covered from a historical standpoint of
Yeah.
the police and the development of the sheriff and that idea about law and the enforcement thereof and the true in this country what seems to be in a lot of times the true purpose, right, which was to enforce on the behalf, right, not to instill justice or enforce morality, but to enforce on the behalf of others so that they can live a life that is where they're at the top of that structure that is imposed through capitalism.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We will be doing part two. And I'm gonna leave you with this. There's nothing wrong with police. There's nothing wrong with police at all. As a matter of fact, they are a necessary entity due to the fact that we've been a country under uh, uh, an overlay society, uh, awful external persuasions, and then sometimes the police is the police that a lot of us do know they have saved lives. They have done great work, and they have been some phenomenal people. But at the end of the day, they can also stand a better chance to do better. They can police their own too. So that's the day show tonight. Hey, I salute to all of you swell officers. We need more of you. And I also would say, you young black men out here that need a job, that you are very vigilant and you are wonderful and off at the law, go to school, become investigators, become sit at the top of the food chain and don't be denied. Get into that judicial system, men and women. Don't be afraid of it. You're young, you got that big in you, you can fight too. Y'all the best that got it. Y'all got it in hand. You got the mindset. You have the historical element. You have the vigor. You have it in your DNA. You have it in your blood. Justice runs through you. So we love you. We appreciate you. And we love you tuning in to the Wheelers Podcast. So I tell you again, it's favorite part of the show. Any more last words, AE? Any more last
No,
words?
sir.
Anything else? All right. So, favorite part of the show, you know what it is. You know what I like to do. You know, it's my favorite part. So come on, say it with me. Come on, say it with me. Come on, check it out. The wheel is yours. Y'all forget that goddamn.
God bless. Well,